Richard Thomas, family man, amateur athlete.
I'm afraid your husband is blind. He's not going to run again.
Now Richard is learning that when you really need something,
I haven't gone to the Olympics as a blind runner.
you just have to go and get it.
You watch us.
Robson Green and Imogen Stubbs star in a tale of passion, courage and destiny. Blind Ambition, an ITV drama premiere Thursday at 9. There's danger on ITV. Friday nights.
It's coming right at us.
All the stars.
I didn't realise it was public knowledge.
All the action.
I'm breathless with anticipation.
Get the weekend off to a flying start. The new ITV movie blockbuster season.
Come and get me.
Beginning with Dangerous Minds, next Friday, 9:30, ITV. Saturday nights have never been so dangerous since we put Lilly Live on TV. Who else would have done it? Lilly Live, Saturday, 9:50, ITV.
His crime spree began with murder, then progressed to kidnapping and extortion, with his second victim imprisoned in a makeshift coffin, a ransom of £175,000 in his hands, and the police completely stumped. It was the perfect crime, but for one costly mistake.
Within days, they had a photo-fit picture.
Manhunt follows the trail that led to the apprehension and conviction of Michael Sams. Tuesday at 10, ITV.
This disused gun platform 7 miles off the Essex coast is an independent state linked to a worldwide network of crime. Sealand's identity is connected to fraud, murder, arms trafficking and the Russian mafia. A special investigation in focus, Monday at 10:30 on Meridian.
I'm Amy Aitchison on Meridian News in 20 minutes. Refusing to leave. Residents prevent the council from shutting down their nursing home. The full story after the ITV Nightly News.
Head teacher cleared of slapping unruly boy. Asylum seekers hurt jumping from Channel Tunnel train. Blair's father-in-law says pension rise was pathetic. And Beck's ready for action, but Posh isn't well.
From ITN, the ITV Nightly News with Nicholas Owen.
Good evening. A head teacher cleared of assaulting a 10-year-old boy today said she just wanted to put her ordeal behind her and get back to the job she loved. Marjorie Evans' conviction for slapping an unruly pupil was overturned by a High Court judge. The case has provoked calls from teachers for teachers to be better protected against false accusations from students. Tim Rogers was in court.
Marjorie Evans emerged from court with a smile for the first time in almost a year after facing allegations which had nearly ruined her career. Allegations that today were thrown out.
Can I start by saying how relieved I am to have been cleared of this charge of common assault. I'd like to thank all those who have supported me throughout the year. I now want to put this long and stressful ordeal behind me.
In court, she had heard the judge say that after examining the charges against her, he had no hesitation in finding they were false. And he said that none of those who gave evidence against her could be considered to be credible witnesses. He said that when Mrs. Evans said she had not slapped the boy, she was telling the truth. The judge, Mr. Justice McKinnon, said Mrs. Evans had been confronted by a difficult and disruptive pupil who had attempted to attack her by headbutting and pushing her, and that in his view, she had used methods to restrain him which were entirely acceptable. At a news conference after the case, Mrs. Evans said her suspension had been traumatic.
It's meant everything to me to be a teacher, and I just couldn't believe that the very good record that I had been damned by one 10-year-old boy who was making malicious allegations.
Mrs. Evans' union, the NUT, says that in future teachers should be protected from such false claims.
Social services with considerations of children first are in danger of taking over. We want their equal. Children and teachers should have the same equality. It should be considered equally.
Mrs. Evans says she now hopes that she'll be able to resume the career to which she's been dedicated for 35 years. Tim Rogers, ITN, Cardiff.
British immigration authorities are tonight trying to find out how a group of illegal immigrants got through the Channel Tunnel. 3 men were hurt jumping from a freight train as it arrived in the UK. One of them is in intensive care. John Draper reports.
The illegal immigrants are thought to have jumped from one of these freight trains early this morning. They were spotted almost immediately, one with a broken arm, another with a broken leg. Several hours later, another was found by the tracks with serious head injuries. The injured were taken to hospital, while police detained the others before handing them over to immigration officials. So, did supposedly stringent security fail this time?
Well, that's what we've got to determine from the police investigation. We're also doing our own investigation, and once those are concluded, then we will share those, the facts we get from those with the French authorities and with the French railways.
It's quite clear, I think, from incidents like this, that the checks simply are not catching people at the right place before the trains enter the tunnel.
The incident reflects the increasing desperation of illegal immigrants.
Yeah, I think they are fleeing from exceptional circumstances, mainly from violation of human rights, civil wars, and that's why they are taking these risks with their life.
For several hours, trains in the Channel Tunnel were delayed. While at Waterloo, the queue of passengers waiting to get away built up. Everything, though, was back to normal by midday. It isn't unusual for illegal immigrants to try and get into this country using the Channel Tunnel. The difference this time is that people were so badly injured, but the authorities here believe that that is unlikely to deter others in the future. John Draper, ITN, at the Channel Tunnel.
It's been revealed that a fire drill designed to save lives probably led to the Concorde crash that killed 113 people. Because of the exercise, the runway hadn't been swept, and the thin strip of metal now believed to have caused the accident wasn't detected. Paul Davis explains.
There is a terrible irony in the initial findings of the French investigation, as experts now believe they've identified a chain of events that led to the Concorde disaster. A chain that began with a routine designed to save lives, but ultimately brought about the death of 113 people. At their press conference, the investigation team revealed that the normal practice of sweeping the runways of Charles de Gaulle Airport, searching for potentially dangerous debris, was postponed on the day of the crash. The sweep would surely have located this 18-inch long piece of metal, probably dislodged from another plane. Instead, because of a fire drill, the runways were not checked for 12 hours. It's believed the rogue piece of metal shredded a tyre, and tyre fragments punctured the Concorde's fuel tanks. British experts say this explanation of the disaster makes sense, but highlights a dreadful lapse by airport officials in Paris.
In the case of Charles de Gaulle, those runway inspections were supposed to have been carried out 4 times a day. It would seem, from what we've heard today, that no inspection was carried out at all.
At London's Heathrow Airport, where the British Airways fleet of Concordes remain grounded while the French investigation continues, officials have responded to the findings of the interim report by revealing that Heathrow's runways are searched at least 5 times a day for anything that might damage an aircraft. Paul Davis, ITN.
Tony Blair has been given some unwelcome advice on pensions by his father-in-law. Tony Booth called the current pension an insult and said the Prime Minister should overrule last year's pathetic 75p a week increase. Mr Booth said the link between pensions and earnings should be restored. John Ray reports.
The Prime Minister headed to Scotland today, only to be preoccupied by family affairs far closer to home.
Are you embarrassed by the comments your father-in-law made about your pension policy?
His wife's father, the actor Tony Booth, calling this year's rise in pensions of less than £1 contemptible.
Everybody's agreed on that. I mean, the whole country is appalled by the miserly 75p. I mean, it's an insult.
Mr Blair's father-in-law, seen here when his daughter became a QC, wants the link between pensions and earnings restored. But he says when he's complained to the Prime Minister in the past, Mr Blair insists pensions are the Chancellor's responsibility.
The Prime Minister can overrule, as First Lord of the Treasury, and has the authority to overrule this pathetic increase, and I hope he will.
The Prime Minister claims the government is helping the poorest pensioners with policies like the winter fuel allowance and free TV licences. The Tories dismiss them as gimmicks and accuse Mr Blair of trying to offload the blame onto his Chancellor.
If the Prime Minister is distancing himself from Gordon Brown, well, that's not so surprising, because number 10 and number 11 seem, figuratively speaking, to be quite a long way apart these days.
Tony Blair isn't the first occupant of number 10 to be embarrassed by a relative, and he says this isn't the first time he's been given grief by Cherie's dad. But on a Heartlands issue like pensions, this is fatherly advice the Prime Minister could well do without. John Ray, ITN, Downing Street.
2 women died when their car was shunted under a lorry and burst into flames. 5 other people were hurt in the crash on the M5 motorway near Bristol. The motorway was closed in both directions for several hours, causing 19-mile tailbacks. Safety investigators believe computer failure may have caused last night's roller coaster accident in Blackpool. 2 teenagers are still in hospital after being crushed by one of the carriages. A computer fault caused a crash on the same ride 6 years ago. Bernard Smith has the details.
The trains on Britain's fastest roller coaster remain in the sidings tonight after a crash yesterday that left 14 people injured, 2 seriously. Fire crews had to cut people from the tight seat restraints. Despite the speed of only 3 miles an hour, passengers were left with leg, neck and whiplash injuries.
All of a sudden, when it come to like a halt, I just remember getting a big smash into the back, and I just jolted forward, and there was just screams everywhere and people panicking, and I wasn't concussed, but I was just knocked out for a few seconds, and when I came around, just panic everywhere, and I had severe pain in my neck and my back.
The rear train should have been stopped by an automatic braking system, but this time the brakes failed. Instead, it shunted into the back of the front train. In July 1994, just a week after the big one opened, a similar accident injured 26 people. Another incident on the same day left 20 passengers stranded 200 feet in the air for 15 minutes. The Pleasure Beach has a good safety record, and management here are desperate to find out what went wrong on their most popular roller coaster.
We started last night to download the computer to interrogate the system to find out precisely what happened in the few seconds before the bump.
The Pleasure Beach management don't know when the big one will be running again. The 2 teenage boys who received a mixture of fractures and dislocations to their legs are stable in hospital. Bernard Smith, ITN, Blackpool.
The new X-registration cars have gone on sale on the same day as new rules to drive down car prices came into effect. The government has ordered salesmen to offer private customers the same discounts as fleet buyers. Eric McInnes has been taking a look at the new deals on the forecourt.
New plates and new prices for consumers. The government is hoping that the cost of cars will come down now that they've introduced rules which say that dealers should get the same discounts as fleet buyers. And in Stockport today, X-plated cars were selling. Most manufacturers have reduced their prices, and new competition should keep them low to the benefit of buyers and sellers alike.
Oh, it's got to be positive. It's got to be positive for us as dealers and for the customers in general. We hopefully will sell more cars, and the customers will get them at a price that they want to pay for them.
The industry expects to sell 400,000 cars this month, and they need to. Consumers have stayed away from British forecourts in favour of cheaper internet and imported cars, but experts say revival depends on prices staying down.
Really what we want to see are more permanent price reductions, and that's already happening, but it's a process that's ongoing and still needs to continue.
And on average, new car prices are already 5% down, but still short of the 10% wanted by the government. Traditionally, new plates do lead to new sales, but dealers will be hoping that the X-plate will help to rebuild confidence in the car-selling market. Eric McInnes, ITN, Central London.
Victoria Beckham is tonight recovering from viral meningitis. The Spice Girl, who's been on a grueling promotional tour for her new single, was rushed home from Germany after complaining of feeling unwell. She was diagnosed with the illness, which swells the lining of the brain, after tests today. The condition is not serious, and it should clear up in a week or 2. Posh Spice's footballer husband David Beckham is in Paris for England's friendly against France tomorrow. They take on the reigning World Cup champions at the Stade de France. The other home nations are also in action. Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland all have qualifiers for the next World Cup. Graham Miller reports.
Kevin Keegan sees the game with France as the ideal chance for England to right the wrongs of Euro 2000.
Andy Cole is one of 6 changes, and he'll play up front on his own as he aims to score his first international goal. It means Michael Owen won't start, and Keegan rubbed it in by saying the 20-year-old Liverpool striker still has much to learn at this level.
I know what Michael Owen can do, and it's a game where, you know, as I've always said to you, it's a game you want to win. It's a big game in terms of it, the world champions, European champions. So, you know, we're playing the very best here, and, you know, trying to get that balance right between a little bit of having a look ahead and obviously trying to win the game.
England last beat France in Paris 51 years ago, but Kevin Keegan remains confident they can rewrite the record books in their friendly tomorrow, on a day when the other home nations, Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales, all have World Cup qualifying matches. Scotland manager Craig Brown has asked his players for a repeat of the performance that earned the Scots victory against Latvia 4 years ago as they start their campaign in Riga, while Northern Ireland are hoping to end their barren run in Belfast by beating Malta. Wales, meantime, start their World Cup in Minsk, where they won against Belarus just a year ago.
Well, it's a difficult game. They're a very good side. Sometimes their results don't reflect the ability they have in their squad, but obviously we're hopeful we're going to get the same result we got last time.
For David Beckham, though, he's just trying to keep his eye on the ball and put the worries of his wife's illness out of his head. Graham Miller, ITN Sport, Paris.
Cricket, England failed to make much improvement on their overnight score in the 5th test against the West Indies. They added just 60 runs before being bowled out for 281. The visitors were on 13 for naught when rain stopped play. The headlines: a head teacher convicted of assaulting a pupil has been cleared by a High Court judge, and 3 illegal immigrants are in hospital after jumping off a freight train in Kent. Tonight's financial figures: high-tech stocks led the main 100 share index to a one-year high. It closed up more than 122 points. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average ended 23 points higher, and the pound was up 0.75 cents against the dollar. Now for a look at the front pages of Saturday's newspapers. The Daily Telegraph leads with head teacher Marjorie Evans, who was today cleared by a judge of slapping a pupil. The paper calls the judgment a victory for common sense. The Times says Miss Evans could be back at work in time for the new school term. It pictures the actress Britt Ekland leaving hospital. She broke her wrist and ankle during a heavy metal music awards ceremony. The Guardian reports that the Metropolitan Police is embroiled in another race row. It says the force refused to apologise to a Sikh sergeant who was cleared of sending race hate mail to fellow officers. The paper pictures a smiling Marjorie Evans. The Mail claims a superbug is sweeping Britain's hospitals. It says a 9-day-old baby has died at the James Paget Hospital in Norfolk after contracting the infection. Victoria Beckham's illness makes the front page of the Mirror. The paper reckons it could be a year before she recovers. That's it. I'll be here again with ITV News Bulletins all day Sunday. For now, good night. Have a good weekend.